So now the first thing we're gonna do is actually we're gonna go back in one of the files we just did, and I'm gonna open robot UVs 026. And the reason why I open this one is because inside of it, if I go in my manage layers, I can hide the high poly piece and show my low poly, and also I can show the sim geometry, which is a similar geometry. And in this case, this can be very helpful for us. For example, I can freeze sim geometry as well as the high poly, and now I can duplicate all those pieces that are on one of the sides, and as well as multiply the fingers and anything else. So the first thing actually I'm going to do is select this piece and select all those actually, and hit that center pivot points, as well as this small sphere. I'm going to center the pivot point on it. I'm going to hide the layers for the moment, and just basically I'm just going to start cloning those things into place. Just going to create a copy 2 times, for example, and just start place them by hand. It's not kind of a big deal actually, so this can be done quickly. Just create a copy. The overall thing we're trying to achieve is use the same pieces as much as we can on the other places. For example, this one can go in here, and this one can go in there. The way we created it, we just wanted to use as maximum optimal space we can instead of having all the fingers. Right now we're just recreating the hands using those pieces. For example, this finger I can recreate by using this piece there and another one in there. And since this is too long, if I go in top view and zoom to it, you can see that this is a little bit too long. So I just can very quickly go to vertices and move those back to have some stretching, but the stretching will be so small that nobody will see it, so I don't have to worry about it. For that kind of big pieces where I have longer pieces, I will use this piece, so this way the stretching will be less, or I can achieve even better stretching. It doesn't matter as long as anything looks fine. So probably I'm gonna put this piece here, and take this one and put it in here, and probably have to stretch it a little bit. Just try to match it as much as you can, like this. Just try to be precise as much as you can. In some places it will not match perfectly. The whole idea of this thing is to capture the fingers as much as you can. Since we just created some of the pieces, now I can quickly duplicate and make all the rest parts and so on. So this is okay. Make another one and place it, not this one, this, and place it a little bit better. Make a copy back there as well. I'm just copying right now, it's not that kind of a big thing. And you can, I've pressed F3, and while everything's frozen I can see through it at some point, so it's kind of good. I can know where my fingers need a little bit more stretching and fitting. I can match those fingers on my own, but since I want to capture the overall shape of the robot itself, that's original one, I just prefer to clone things. It's a little bit faster for me. Just try to move and scale and rotate if you have to. I can rotate those parts, but for now I don't need to. Later on, if the textures doesn't look okay with it, I can fix it very quickly, but for the moment I'm happy and satisfied. So as you can see, the sphere that we used here needs to be duplicated on the top as well. Let's take a look. The other place we need a sphere is in the hand, so I'm gonna take the one from the leg to have a little bit of variation, and I'm just gonna clone one, and I'm just gonna quickly try to align it. What is the other piece? I'm gonna go to top view and rotate. I'm gonna toggle angle snap so I can rotate much more efficiently, and in front view I'm just gonna try to match it just like this, and just a little bit of scaling now. So we have this piece as well done. So let's take a look quickly what I have. I have most of the fingers. So those fingers are done. Now I have to make the thumb. For the thumb I can just select those things and just clone them. And while I have the selection on, just rotate this and match it. So this goes in there. This one goes in here. As for definitely this is gonna need a little bit of stretching, but it's not that kind of a big problem, as you can see. Since we're working with something that's very low poly, I can very quickly match it with my mesh. The things I'm showing you is one of the ways I can very quickly match robots and so on. In all of the games you play, probably some of the places where characters are done and when they have to do a lot of characters, stretching and refitting parts is something that's widely seen, I guess. So if you know how to use it in your advantage like I do now. As you can see, I don't try to match it perfectly since I'm gonna work more with the low poly than the high poly. I'm not that kind of concerned, but I just want to capture the shapes as much as possible. So I have the leg, I need to do this piece on the other side. So since this is in the center, I'm just gonna apply symmetry. And another cool thing about it is, okay, I have most of the low poly pieces, so I can quickly go and manage layers and hide the high poly parts. As you can see now, I have all those low poly pieces done. So for me it's much more easy to select this piece that I've applied symmetry with on, and I'm gonna go on the edit poly, I'm gonna show end results, and I'm just gonna start to attach the eyes, the joints, all the parts that are going to be symmetrical. I'm just clicking, it's much more fun for me. You can go and attach all from list, which is also another option, but I think this is faster at some points. I can quickly notice if I have some kind of problem somewhere. So in this area everything's fine. I can do now the same thing with leg. And as you can see, our low poly piece of the robot is done. So this is our robot, so I'm going to convert this to poly and select this piece and attach all those parts at once. So those are all the pieces of the robot now, so I can name this piece low poly. So this is our final low poly robot, so I'm gonna save it like this. So I'm gonna name this robot 28. So final low poly robot 28, 028. So we can follow along with it. Right now, since I have this piece done, I can quickly actually go before the end of chapter. I'm just gonna delete all the other things, all the other layers, because we don't need them. So I'm gonna hide this one and unfreeze those and select all those pieces and just delete them, and also delete the layers. And since this is the low poly piece, I can unhide it and move it to the default layer and just delete the low poly layer. I don't need it anymore. So I'm just gonna make this primary again and select this one and delete it. And I'm just gonna click Ctrl and S to save it. So in our next chapter, we're gonna continue on and start preparing some of the texturing things for the robot, for the low poly. And probably we're gonna put it inside of a game engine, as well as use a few other programs to think how we're gonna make the textures as well.